Relationships can be difficult, even relationships that we really want. Lovers, marriages, relationships with our children, co-workers, bosses, um, people in spiritual groups, whatever the case may be. If you're part of a community in any sense, your town, your neighbors, your job, your family, we all have interactions. And if you don't, you really need to, because no man is an island. Now, I know a lot of people, I myself have been guilty of this in the past, will isolate when feeling down or when grieving or that kind of thing. And a lot of times, I know for me, it wasn't necessarily, when I was younger, it wasn't necessarily the people around me, it was just how I coped with things. As I got older, it became very apparent to me that people didn't really care. So that would make my suffering, my grieving, my sadness, or whatever, that much worse, because words are one thing, actions are another. So people would say, oh, I'm so sorry, or whatever. I mean, the good old, how you doing? How are you? And then they don't give you a chance to answer, or they don't really want to know the truth. I mean, how many times do people say, how you doing? And then when you really start to answer them, you tell them the truth, they have other things to do. All of a sudden they have to be somewhere else, right? So I used to isolate. I have grown so much over the years. Now, of course, I was just telling my son earlier, with age comes wisdom, hopefully. But, not always. We still have a lot to learn. As long as we're on this earth, we are not, we're not in our, God can take you and he can transform you, and he does. So justification comes immediately. Sanctification takes time, and it goes over and over and over. There are things, you might think you're at the top of your game, and then God's going to show you something else, because we're continuously growing. And that's all of us, especially if you're really in a spiritual walk. You're going to notice these things. You're going to become more aware, and you're going to be grateful for those brothers and sisters who call you out on what you may be going down the wrong road or that kind of stuff, because they call you out in love. Now, there's a difference between somebody being critical and somebody calling you out in love. Does that make sense to you? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is relationships and interaction and how we deal with each other. Now, recently I've had, it's funny, it's like things come in kind of waves, and I don't know exactly why. I think, God has a way of showing us things by different things happening. Like we were talking about before in previous videos, our soul wounds seem to surface even when we think we're okay, we're done with that. And because soul wounds are so much deeper than an emotional problem. Like, say you have, like me, I'll use myself as an example. I have been sexually assaulted, and I just blocked it because, as I said before, I used to just isolate, and that's exactly what I did. And then I worked through it. I did what I had to do. I started working with others, which I still do, that have gone through the experience. Emotionally, you're okay when you can use it to benefit somebody else, when you can go back and share the experience, and it's as if you don't relive it. You don't feel the emotion of it anymore. You can detach from that. And even if you do feel the emotion of it, you are able to detach from it. So emotionally, it's gone, but sometimes there are soul wounds that are left behind. And soul wounds are much deeper, and they surface and they show themselves sometimes in the most unexpected ways, sometimes at the most unexpected times. You could think that you're totally up here vibrational wise and doing really well even in the physical world, and then you start having these experiences that bring your soul wounds up to the surface. And yes, do we heal? Yes, we do, but they still seem to keep rearing their ugly head. So we make mistakes in relationships, we always do, but as we grow, it's our duty, it's our responsibility, if we want to be the best that we can be, is to look in the mirror, not necessarily look at the other person. I think so often people get so caught up in looking at the other person or the other people that we don't look in the mirror. And the only person that we can change, the only person that God is working on is us, okay? God is working on them, and that's between them and God. With me and God is my stuff, with you and God is your stuff. So you can't change another person. And I think so often people get caught up in, well, he said, she said, blah, 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 when instead we're looking at ourselves. How did I respond to that? Did I respond or did I react? So I just wanted to go over a couple things in relationship. The more the relationship means to us, the harder it hits us, the more the soul wounds can be brought to the surface. So first things first, if there's an issue in a relationship for you, first things first, look, is it me? Am I being too sensitive? Is this a soul wound brought to the surface? If it's a soul wound brought to the surface, you need to look at why. Maybe you're in relationship with the wrong person. Sometimes we can't change that if it's family, if it's co-workers or whatever. But am I in relationship with the wrong person? And if I am and I can't change it, what you need to do is just detach emotionally. Like if you have to work with that person anyway, you can't detach completely and never talk to them. You should still be polite. You should still be respectful. You should still care about their feelings, but you can detach emotionally. And another thing is don't take things so personally. Some people can say, oh, I'm just sensitive. That's the way I am. Actually, if you get offended and take everything personally, you need to start looking and say, am I being self-centered? Because not everything is about us. And I think a lot of times we can look and say, you did that to hurt me, or you said that because, you were trying to upset me, and it's really not about us at all. So are you being self-centered? Why are you so easily offended? And if somebody is truly offending you, some things are offensive. God says that he's offensive to those that don't believe. Well, that's too bad, but you can detach from that person. But if you find that you are easily offended or always being insulted, you need to step back and look and say, what is it with me? Another thing is, so don't be too sensitive. Don't be, because sometimes, like I said, it can come across like you're just a really caring person. But the truth of the matter could be that you are being self-centered. Another thing is, I've noticed with a lot of people is a critical spirit. A critical spirit will never bond a relationship. A critical spirit will definitely destroy a relationship. Even if somebody wants to be with you, loves you very much, enjoys your company, loves everything about you, and you are critical, you may be thinking it's because, and I know a lot of women have an issue with this, a lot of men do too, but men are kind of different than women, and I notice this a lot in women. When you care about somebody, you tend to criticize if that's your nature, You may not even be thinking you're criticizing. You may not think it's a critical spirit. But if you're saying to somebody, you should have done it this way. Well, had you done it this way, well, I think you should do this. You can share your opinions. You can help somebody out without making them feel less than. And I think what happens a lot of times with a critical spirit, especially with men, if the woman is the one with the critical spirit, the man, you're treating him like your son versus your significant other. And if it is your son, you're still doing damage because now he's gonna, you're cutting down his self-esteem. Men need respect, and if you're being critical, they take it as you don't respect them and you're going to crush them. If you're in a relationship, a marriage, or he's your significant other, you are putting him in the role of son, and he's going to treat you like mother. He's going to start to hide things from you. He's going to start to, just to avoid conflict. He's going to say the things that he thinks will make you happy. Treat you like an authority figure versus his significant other, his equal. bosses or coworkers, if you treat them with a critical spirit, you're not going to get the best performance out of them, because they're constantly worried that you're going to criticize, that they're not going to do it right. So it makes them, if people can flow naturally and share what they need to share naturally, what they're good at, whether it be at work, at home, in a community, they're going to do a lot better. They're going to want to, they're going to be eager to. So you can help somebody, you can give your opinion, you can share with them, you can give them constructive criticism, but a critical spirit is not constructive. They're accusatory. And sometimes there's a really fine line. When men do it to women, women tend to shrivel up, tend to, again, try to please, and they're not going to be flowing in the natural sense. You're going to crush them. Same thing with men, you're going to crush them, but in a different way. So a critical spirit is really, really dangerous. Another thing is like gaslighting and like being passive aggressive. So gaslighting is basically like making somebody feel like they're crazy. Like, if you do something and then they call you out on it, they say, well, you said this, and I never said that. I never did that. No, that's not what I meant. No, it didn't happen that way. That's gaslighting. You're making them feel like they're crazy. Were we in the same room together? Passive aggressive behavior is, oh yeah, you can go to that meeting. I will be home to watch the kids. What time is the meeting? 7? Okay, I'll be home in time. And you show up at 5 minutes to 7. Because you don't really want them to go, but instead of saying, I don't really want you to go, you create a block for them to go. Passive aggressive behaviors, no, I don't care if you do that, go ahead. And then given the silent treatment. Another thing is a breakdown in communication. So silent treatment, nobody wants to be yelled at. Nobody wants to walk on eggshells. Nobody wants to wonder what the other person is thinking. Communication is important. Even if it's our children, a lot of people say, I don't have to talk to my kids. You don't have to be your child's friend. That's not a good idea. But you do want your child to know that you have their back, that you love them unconditionally. You love them enough to discipline them, not punish them, but discipline them. You love them enough to say no. You love them enough to truly care about what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're feeling. You want to let them know it's okay to be angry. It's not okay to express it in certain ways. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to come to me. I used to tell my kids, it's okay to tell me anything. I may get upset. Don't be afraid to tell me. I'd rather have you tell me than lie to me. My kids know that I love them unconditionally, no matter what. It does not mean that I will not give consequences for their actions, but it does mean that I will always love them. If they did something wrong, when I say I have their back, it doesn't mean I'm going to cover for them and lie for them, because I will not. But I will have their back. I will support them through whatever consequences they have to pay. I will be there for them. I will, I don't think there's anything in the world that my kids could do to make me stop loving them. There's nothing in the world that if I tell you I love you as a husband, as, a significant other, as a friend, there's nothing you can do to make me stop loving you. Nothing. I may get upset with you. You may get upset with me. I want you to come to me and tell me. I want to be able to come to you and tell you. Good lines of communication. If you're and there are rules to communication, no name calling, no bringing up the past. If you've already forgiven it, forgive it. Okay? The rules say you can't bring it up again. Even in a court of law, say somebody commits adultery and you've forgiven that. And then 2 years later, you're in divorce court. You can't bring up that adultery from 2 years ago, because the court looks at it like it's been forgiven. It's off the table. Okay? Yes, you may still have issues from that, but that's why open lines of communication are the best way. And I could do a whole video on communication, but relationships are extremely important. I think people tend to care more about material things in this world, getting ahead, making sure that, they have this and that, and they let relationships go on the wayside. Spiritually speaking, we take nothing with us into eternity except ourselves. And what do we leave behind? What we've done for people, how we've treated people. Nobody's gonna remember what your house, well, they might remember what your house looked like or whatever, but the reason they're going to remember is, did you help people? Did you let people in? The car you drove, okay, that's nice, but did you make a mark on anybody's life? And there should be two things that are most important. God first, no matter what. God first. Next, relationships and helping other people, serving in the name of the Lord, because if you love the Lord, you want to serve others, and you don't want to serve others. The Bible says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing, for a reason. So many people serve others just so it looks good on their resume, just so that people think they're a great person, but they don't really care. You have to really care. And believe me, with what I do, I really care. And does it drain me? Absolutely. And do you know how many people I've had say to me, well, let it go? That's another thing. Don't obsess. Okay, so I have grown, and there were times when I beat the crap out of myself by trying to help others. You have to remember certain things when you help others. First of all, if they will not accept the help, don't push it. Second of all, don't decide what they need. Listen to them. If you decide what somebody needs, like say somebody comes to you and they are homeless, and you say, well, what you need is to go to this place, this. Okay. You can make these suggestions, but if you're saying you need to do that, you have a critical spirit. You're making them feel worse. You need to listen to them and provide what you can. If you can't provide what they need, maybe you can refer them to someone else, or maybe you could say, I don't have the ability to do that. Is there something else I can do for you? But when you decide, well, no, this is what you need, you're treating them as if they're a child, and you're taking away their dignity. Just because somebody ends up in a bad situation doesn't mean that you need to take away their dignity. Does that make sense? And that's not just financially, that's in all ways. We need to not decide what others need. We need to not project what we would do. We need to listen. Listening is a big thing. And I lost my train of thought. And the other thing is, when you help people, yes, don't stop caring about people. Okay, don't stop caring, but don't take control of the situation. And if you care, truly care, and you don't obsess about it, you pray about it, you can still keep revitalizing your own energy while helping others. People tell me, don't. No, if this is what I'm called to do, this is what I need to do, and I'm going to listen to God. I'm not going to listen to man. But if somebody's not going to accept my help, and they're draining me, and they're not going to accept it, well, you need to know, you need to discern, when is it time to cut the cords? When is it time to step back? You don't want somebody to take advantage of you. But we should all, if everybody just helped everybody, not only financially, but emotionally, mentally, physically, if we all did what we're supposed to do, there would be very little pain in this world, or the pain that was there would be healed and treated very quickly. But people are so worried about me. I'm going to do a part 2 because this video is getting a little too long. But just for today, how about a random act of kindness for someone? Not only is it going to help someone else, do you know when you do a random act of kindness, 3 things happen. The person that receives the help, endorphins are released actually physically to help make them feel better. The person who is the giver, endorphins are released to make them feel better. And anybody who witnesses the random act of kindness also has those endorphins released. Imagine what a place this would be if people helped each other. You know what? If I ever come into a large amount of money, I'm going to buy a whole lot of land, and I'm going to build some structures on it, and hopefully, build a community where only people who are willing to help and really really truly care about other people are going to be able to be there. Wouldn't that be a great place? Speaking of that, I am looking into places where I can have different places that I can go to, not a steady office, but different places I can use for resources for groups, to help people with the food pantry, to help people in domestic violence and sexual assault situations, where I can help with the court advocacy. And, food pantries, coat, clothes, where we can give away coat drives and clothes. I'm working on getting daycare too, but I'm trying to put this all together. The other thing is the missing persons and unsolved crime. We'll have a little place for that. We can get the computers set up with the access that we need. I need printers for the classes that I'm teaching. Right now, I have to go to Staples and print out stuff. I do everything off my phone right now. So we're going to have all of this stuff, and we'll be able to, I was talking to somebody the other day. She's not online right now, so she can't join the online community, but she's lonely. People need help. You know how many people, singles about my age, are out there looking for good people? And they have no access. They only have these online dating things, and they only have, where are you going to go? To the bar? So I want to set up all these different groups. It's going to take time. It's going to take money, but I'm meeting with some people today, and I'm hoping that I can actually even hire some people on. I don't think I'll be able to afford to give them a salary, but maybe I can, kick them back some bonuses to do this work, because I understand in this work, people say, why don't you do it for free if it's such a gift? Because we have to live. That's why. I give away a lot of stuff, but you know what? With all that I do, I don't have time to work 40 hours. I'm out there right now looking for part-time work. I got a few jobs, and I can't take them because this has to take priority to me. So when people ask, why do you get paid? Why do you ask for donations? Because I have to live, and because I want to keep doing this. It's beyond want. I'm called to keep doing this. Everything that I do costs money. The classes, the life coach, different programs that I set up, the one-on-ones, my prices are very low. And if somebody came to me and truly did not have the resources, I've never turned anybody away for that. So people can keep their judgments with ignorance, without understanding, to themselves, because I ask for donations and I get paid for certain services because I have to live too. So what I was saying is, maybe I can get some people on and kick them back for their time, at least something, to show them that we appreciate them. So again, I'm going to tell you, if you want to donate, that's great. If you can't, that's okay too. I totally get it. But you know what? $1, $5, $6, $100, $1,000, all of it matters. Anybody that gives $10 or more, either through the GoFundMe page, through the PayPal, or if they want to message me, I can send you like an invoice if that's easier to pay with your card. I can also take a card by phone, but if you don't like that, you can do it all online. $10 or more will give you a chance. By the end of the month, I'm giving away a free full session, which is worth $145, full price. So I'll give that away for everybody. Every $10 gives you a chance for that. Please message me if you're interested. But springtime is the time to get this growing. Okay. So if I've been helpful to you at all, whatever you can do. And if you can't do anything, that's okay too. Send me a testimony. That'll help too, because I can show others what this is all about. All right, you guys, I want you to have a great day, and I will be doing more. I started the relationship series. I know right now I'm kind of just rambling, but I just wanted to put that out there because there's a lot of critical spirits out there. And you know what? Critical spirit is not of God. And it's there to kill, steal, and destroy. And you want to destroy a relationship, do one of those things I talked about earlier. We need to build each other up through honesty, communication, through service. Okay? So there's nothing wrong with being honest with somebody, but do it with kindness. Do it out of love. God bless you all. I love my YouTube group. I love you guys. And let's get this thing going. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.